to this portfolio committee meeting and therefore declare the portfolio committee meeting officially open. I want to firstly note the apologies that we have received for today. We have received an apology from Honorable Tsebekulu, Honorable Malomane, and Professor Fikeni. Those are the apologies we have received for today. Bear with me, is this network problem that is disturbing now? Just bear with me, I will be with you now by way of providing the opening address.
I'm trying to be sure that I still.
Do you see me? Dear, I didn't get you. What were you saying?
Sorry, Chair. I'm just talking to somebody here. Sorry about it.
Okay.
Okay.
As I have already declared the meeting officially opened, and I have also noted the apologies for today. Honorable members, we have invited the department together with the Public Service Commission to come and give an account on the implementation of the lifestyle audits, financial disclosure framework, and complaints reported in the commission on the myriad of issues. Both lifestyle audit and financial disclosure presentations are interlinked, meaning the department and the Public Service Commission will present both the presentation and thereafter allow members to engage. Without any further ado, let me allow the chairperson of the commission to provide his opening remarks on the presentations rather, and allow the presenter to present thereafter. Later, after the Public Service Commission, we will invite the Deputy Minister to also provide her opening remarks, and then the presenter will present the report. Thank you very much. Can I now invite the chair?
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members. Also, good morning, Deputy Minister. My name is Henk Boshoff. I'm a commissioner with the Public Service Commission, and also in attendance today, Honorable Chair, on the platform are Professor Mandla Makanya and Commissioner Yasmin Bakkes, and we are being supported by DDG Matomi Malatsi, who will be making the presentation just after my introductory remarks. Honorable Chair, as you correctly indicated, the Commission will be presenting two reports today. The first one is the overview report on complaints, followed by the overview report on the financial disclosure framework. Now, as you know, Honorable Chair, honorable members, one of the key mandates or responsibilities of the PSC is to investigate complaints. Now, the complaints that we receive are investigated in accordance with the complaints rules of the Public Service Commission, and the report that will be presented today will provide detail on the different kinds of complaints as well as the outcomes. Secondly, Honorable Chair, with regards to the overview report on the financial disclosure framework, it is another key responsibility of the PSC. This framework is contained in Part 2 of Chapter 2 of the Public Service Regulations, And as you know, Honorable Chair, honorable members, it is expected of all SMS members, all senior management service members, to disclose their financial interests to the HOD or the EA, whoever is applicable, and submit it to the PSC by no later than the 31st of May of each year. The PSC then scrutinizes these disclosures, whereafter the EAs are informed of the findings on whether there were actual or potential conflicts of interest. And it is expected of EAs, honorable members, to indicate what steps were taken in implementing the recommendations. So the report on, or the overview report on the financial disclosure framework will also outline all these processes that I have mentioned. So, Chair, if you'll allow, I'm going to request DDG Matomi Malatsi to take the committee through those two presentations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Before Commissioner Malatsi give the presentation, let me officially welcome Professor Makanya. I think you are coming for the first time since you were appointed.
No, thank you so much, Honorable
Chairperson. Welcome very much. We are happy to have you in the platform.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair.
Yeah, the presenter can continue now with the presentation.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, the esteemed members of your committee, the Commissioner, Dr. Henk Boshoff, convener of the Integrity and Anti-Corruption, and the commissioners who are in the meeting. I'll also extend my greetings to Honorable Minister of the DPSA, as well as the Honorable Deputy Minister. Just for the Honorable Chair and members to see who's presenting, I just showed my picture, but I will close it so that we have enough transmission of this virtual meeting. With your permission, Chairperson, may I proceed? Thank you very much. This slide, it's highlighting how the presentation that we are going to share with you is structured. It is the presentation on the overview report on the complaints that the PSC has handled. It is divided into two in this format, that the first part will relate to complaints that are lodged through the NAG. NAG refers to the National Anti-Corruption Hotline, which is an assignment given to the Public Service Commission by Cabinet. Then the second part will relate to how the PSC carries its constitutional mandate on investigating complaints that are reported to it by members of the public and public service. We indicate that corruption and maladministration will impede realization of capable, ethical, and developmental state. The NDP indicates that those goals, the objectives of the NDP will not be realized if we don't deal with this issue of corruption and maladministration decisively. And then the NAG remains a key facility. It's a very important instrument in the public service because it affords anybody who has information to report so that it can be actioned through the necessary channels. So the country does have a reporting facility available to all. The objectives of the report, as Commissioner Boshoff has indicated, we are providing overall number of complaints that we have registered and those that we have investigated. Here we give a reflection on the National Anti-Corruption Hotline. We indicate that in the preceding year of 2021-2022 financial year, we received 1,563 cases, which were reported on this National Anti-Corruption Hotline. All these cases were referred to respective departments, organizations, law enforcement agencies within 7 days. That's the standard we have said. It ranges from the same day, and the latest will be within 7 days. On this slide is a breakdown of all the 1,563, and I will indicate that this is an improvement from the previous year or the preceding year, where only about 877 cases were received. We show a breakdown per province and per national department, how many cases were reported in this slide. It's per quarter, it's per provincial and national departments. I'll pass on to show on a monthly basis, month to month, what have we received as we process them. And we see there that it's in February where we received the highest number of 215. March, where we received 252, but throughout the year, there will be cases that are reported in each month, and then we process them. We reflect the nature of the types of complaints reported. The members will see that the social grant fraud is the highest. This is where we get most complaints, and we forward them to the Social Security Agency, SASSA. They process them there, investigate where there are criminal activity. They follow them through utilizing law enforcement agency and resolve them in that light. But there will be those that relate to, I did not receive my grant, and those are just service delivery inquiries, but they are reported, then we forward them to SASSA. We also have service delivery complaints, as we have indicated there. Those are issues like pensions, like people who are not receiving their pensions or their IDs are stuck somewhere, or matriculants whose matric certificates are not released. Unethical behavior where employees are not behaving as provided by the Code of Conduct, it's 179, then followed by the rest of the types of complaints reflected in this slide. You'll see that procurement irregularities accounts for 31, mismanagement of government funds 22. We have fraud and bribery 63. We have issues relating to home affairs, which is 81. Now, as we forward these cases to departments, they must provide feedback. And we indicate here that 480 officials were found guilty of misconduct. The feedback must indicate what process was embarked on, and if it's the allegations were substantiated, the what action followed thereafter, and what is the ultimate overall sanction. If there were sanctions, they provide that, then is then that we can close that case on the National Anti-Corruption System. Now, I come to complaints reported to the Public Service Commission. This one, what are we talking about? We're talking about cases which the Public Service Commission has investigated in terms of its constitutional mandate. We indicate that those, we had 409 which were investigated as such, And then we finalized 254, which was 62%. We hope to improve on this percentage because it's something that we look to improve, and we have revitalized our plans so that it should be beyond 75, beyond 85%. The graph shows a comparative just analysis or overview of what happened in the previous years. You'll see 2020, 2021, it was 334 which were received, and the finalized was 230. In the 2019-2020, 315, the finalized was 225. But it is an incremental number if you look at what transpired in the 2021-2022. I'll move on, Chair. I must indicate of those that were finalized, what transpired. 38 of them were substantiated. What does it mean? It means the allegations were confirmed to be true through the process of investigation. And during this process, we apply due process. In other words, everybody involved is given the right to reply, the right to be heard. We don't take people by surprise. We had 111 unsubstantiated, and there was areas where PSC has intervened. You'll see that in 2021-2022, there were 7 cases where we kind of intervened, mediated, and resolved the issues that were confronting the department. And issues that were not investigated is 76, because they would not have fallen within the mandate of the PSC. They were channeled to the respective organizations for further handling. What is the impact of these investigations? Mostly they relate to irregular recruitment processes, and they also would relate to procurement processes. Whenever there's irregular recruitment process that is found to be irregular, we direct the EA to approach the court of law and correct the situation as provided for in the law. So we give an example of a irregular appointment process in the Department of Social Development, Limpopo, where allegations were confirmed. The recruitment process was nullified, and you see, before the appointment could be made, the post was re-advertised. So somewhere we do assist departments that, you know, there is something wrong in the process, discontinue and restart so that it can be seamless, it can be compliant with the law. We also indicate the example with regard to Department of Agriculture and Sports, but in the previous slide where I indicated substantiated, all those cases would fall in the category where we make recommendations to the department for them to correct the situation or take corrective actions. We indicate what are the recommendations that we make. We recommend corrective actions against implicated employees. We request the EA by way of a direction to rectify irregular appointment. Once we issue a direction in terms of the law, the EA, who's the minister or the MEC, is required to comply with that direction, carry out the necessary directive that is given, and report back to the PSC what steps have been taken and implemented. We do assist department with fixing their systemic deficiencies where we see they need policy enhancement and or other systems that can assist them to ensure that there is good governance in their respective environment. Other service delivery interventions, we indicate that where there are issues like vulnerable retired people who do not have access to telephones, they have not received their pension payouts. Now they are struggling with keeping up with the demanding life necessities. We do step in and unblock whatever blockages that affect them, and so that they can get their dues and retire peacefully. We give an example of a matriculant who did not have ID, but we assisted in intervening. There will be several cases of those. Now, in a way of conclusion, we have observed that departments there is extended period taken by certain departments to finalize these processes. Some are complex, but some are not. And these ones that are not complex, we urge them to speedily finalize, because in some instances, people are on suspension and it's prolonged suspension on pay, which becomes now a heavy burden on all the taxpayers. We also have observed that departments with minimum anti-corruption capacity, they have a capacity to investigate, to conduct awareness in the environment. They have a high rate of reported cases, but corresponding to that, they will have a high rate of finalization of cases, as well as finalization of or taking action against the implicated people. We indicate that the PSC embarks on a flagship project because we have observed that whistleblowers are victimized. We are going to make proposals for the whistleblower regime to be enhanced, so that this issue of protection can be settled and can be protection that whistleblowers feel valued in our country. And it is through the whistleblowers, as pointed out in the Zondo Commission report, that it is through these people that we will get to know the wrongdoing that must be investigated and get to the bottom of it through the appropriate channel. We will continue to investigate and also provide support to teams that are investigating in departments as a way of contributing towards fighting corruption, because corruption is government priority. We have realized that without dealing with this issue of corruption, any other developmental goals that we want to achieve will be hampered. Honorable Chairperson, this is the first presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The second must come.
I'm trying to load it quickly, Chair.
Okay. We'll bear with you.
I'm loading it so that the members can see what we are talking about. Share. Can I check with the chair if it is visible?
Yes, I can see it. Overview report on the implementation of the financial disclosures framework. I can see it clearly.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. This is the overview report where we reflect on how conflict of interest is managed through financial disclosure framework in the public service. This slide is just the outline of this presentation. I won't dwell much on it. We indicate that the report enables the PSC to promote ethical conduct, but also accountability and transparency in the public service by reporting on the extent of which SMS members comply with the financial disclosure framework. We also report on the scrutiny findings. When these forms are released to the PSC on that electronic system that is overseen by the DPSA, when they come, we scrutinize. In other words, we cross-refer what is in the forms in line with what is in the other databases that are keeping deeds registry, e-notice, company registration, directorship. So we verify, are these people accurate and honest in disclosing this? It may look like a very compliant exercise, but it is very helpful. Whenever there are criminal investigations, there have been procurement irregularities and employees are involved, PSC get approached to provide this information where it will be assessed whether these people have been disclosing correctly, and we do also go to court and give the evidence. We provide affidavit to enable criminal investigations to reach their course. On this slide, we just reflect on the compliance rate as compared with the previous years. We will see here that in the 2021-2022 financial year, we have achieved 96% of compliance rate, which is a drop by 2% as compared with the previous years. This is a matter of concern, and we have seen why this has happened. Safe to say, as we observe the drop, we also observe that the information disclosed, the accuracy thereof, the reliability, it is improving. This slide shows now per breakdown of the province. You will see, if you check this provincial where departments are, mostly they are 100%, and the two that are not is 99.8. There will be one person who has not submitted in those respective provinces. When we come to national, we see that that's where the bigger drop is. National department is the one that we have scheduled interaction with all the departments to ensure that in this year's disclosures, we correct all the issues that have challenged them, like where they tell us that people have been on suspension or they are being disciplined and they are not cooperating in submitting. And in some instances, we advise that if they do that during the course of disciplinary proceeding, a charge must be added of failure to submit or to comply with this requirement, because it's a very important requirement. There are instances where officials have submitted, but now the department delays in releasing the forms to the PSC as required, because these forms must be released to the PA on the 31st of May of a respective year. So we reflect all of that information in that slide. Here is just an explanatory of the number of the SMS that we had who were in the system. And I just need also to indicate that even those that would not have submitted, because they are in the PESAL system of government, which is overseen also by the DG of the DPSA, we still take those names and we scrutinize, because we know where these assets are kept. We call for those assets and check what are the details regarding their their accumulation of assets. We indicate that there were outstanding forms as at 31 May, which was 418. And then in the 418, there were those of 6 directors general and 8 heads of department. Why do we indicate this? These are the leaders in government. They must lead by example, provide the right tone at the top. But what we find is not them who delayed the forms. The EA would still be verifying something, and in the process, on the 31st of May, when these forms must come, then they don't come, and they would come the following day or the following month. So I needed to provide that context of what would be happening in instances like those. We provide statistics here of the 554 SMS members who have interest in companies which they did not disclose. And we get this from the company registration system. And we realize you have got a company against your name, but in your form, you are not saying it. Tell us what is the story here. We have 354 SMS members who are from national departments and 200 from provincial departments whose directorships were not disclosed. In these circumstances, we tell we write to the EA and bring it to their attention, and as required by the regulation, they will approach the implicated officials, seek clarity, and if there is a need to take a disciplinary action based on the response they are given, they will take that action, and they are required to give it back to us in the form of feedback. Of concern is those people that we always see, they repeat offenders, they've things that they don't disclose year in, year out. So these are the ones we really impress on EAs to take action against in our recommendations. We indicate that a total of 314 SMS members did not disclose their ownership of immovable property, because this is also very important. People who accumulate unexplained wealth, they will go and buy property, and now come disclosure time, they are not disclosing it. Then we say, no, we need explanation of this property, and we want to know how you funded it, because it must link to your known income. And that's how this FDF, this financial disclosure forms, link or interlink with the lifestyle audit, because the lifestyle audit is to ascertain unexplained wealth. If you live beyond your means, where do you get this extra funding? There were 9 SMS members in the province of Gauteng who did not disclose such immovable properties, 3 in the Northwest, and 6 who were identified as repeat offenders with regard to non-disclosure of movable properties. We indicate the issue of motor vehicles, how many people did not disclose the ownership of motor vehicles. We have 512. As we do verification, we find that there is a list of vehicles under a particular individual. And when they get approached about all of this, you find that there is one that has been traded in, one has been sold, but it's the responsibility of individual members to verify how many vehicles are in my name, so that they are able to clarify it beforehand, not when they are approached. We give a breakdown of the 512, which number is in the national government, which is 295, and 217 in the provincial government. We will keep showing the issue of the heads of department, because we say of this 512 SMS members, there are 8 heads of department. 3 of them are directors general from national departments, and 5 HODs from provincial departments. In the Eastern Cape, we have 2, Gauteng 2, and we have Mpumalanga 1. Now, the issue of potential conflict of interest, what do we mean by this? Potential conflict of interest is, we refer to people who have directorship, and they are also found to be registered on the public service, which central database, which is overseen by National Treasury. Registered, not doing business yet, but they are registered. And we say they pose a potential conflict, because if they were to do business, we're still figuring out a monitoring instrument of that part where if a person would go to do business, there will be a system that indicates this person is a public service member, should not be registered on this, or should not be engaged in bidding or tendering in the public service. So we bring this to the attention of the EA so that they call them and say, this is dangerous, this is outlawed, it's a criminal offense. If you go and do business with the state, you will be arrested. You know that. Then you get advice to remove your name, be out of the company, and not even think of bidding in the public service. Then we give a breakdown there of which people are at the national department level and those that are in the provincial department. So actual conflict of interest, which is also what we reflect on. What happened? Is there anybody who was found to be doing business in this scrutiny? We indicate that no case of actual conflict of interest was identified as we did a scrutiny, which is a commendable finding, because it shows that members of the SMS, now they are starting to get the message. They are leading by example, not going to do business or even trying to do business with the state. Engagements in other remunerative work. This is where employees who get engagement in other remunerative work must get approval from the executive authorities, allowing them for that one financial year that you can do tutorship at a particular university, just as by way of an example. The scrutiny revealed that there are 379 SMS members in the public service who were engaged in such other remunerative work. So we indicate there that the income generated by those SMS collectively, and then that the majority of those were in national departments and the rest were in the provincial departments. This one breaks down the other remunerative works work in the provincial departments, where 167 members were engaged. I'll move on. We indicate that of the just one important aspect, you must have proof that you got approval from the relevant authority to do it. So in the provinces, we have such approvals from 75 people who said, no, here's my approval. But those that do not provide approval, we recommend to the EAs of those departments to take action against them, that we did not get approval from this guy's proof of approval. They are not in compliance with the law. Please take action against them and report to the PSC. Receipt of gift, receiving of gift is also a thorny issue in the public service. A thorny issue in the sense that it needs to be managed such that there is no blurring of concept between what is a gift when a person is receiving a bribery and term it a gift. So it is being managed and monitored closely. 213 SMS members, 20 of whom are in the level of HOD received gifts. This will include sponsorship to the value of 8,300,000. Now, most of this is traveling for official purposes, for sporting codes representing the country. That is what we have found on the scrutiny. Hence, we indicate that there are those who have disclosed departmental sponsorship and such as payment of traveling and accommodation. In the provincial department, we had 64 of such receiving gifts and sponsorship to a combined value of 1.4 million. We break down the number, where are they located in terms of the provincial span. Then here we're indicating feedback received from the EAs, because once we send recommendations, they must take action. And once they have taken action, they must give us, give PSC the feedback that the following action has been taken. Then we take note of it, then we respond to them. We say 80, which reflects 60% of feedback reports were received from EAs on how the recommendations and findings were implemented. Then we break it down by national departments and by provincial departments. We also indicate the number of disciplinary processes from the feedback received. 114 SMS members were subjected to disciplinary action. Here we reflect on compliance. I've already indicated that there is a 2% drop, and we observe that the ethics officers in departments, they are used for a compliance checklist exercise instead of raising awareness on the importance of disclosures or managing conflict of interest. They must play a prominent role towards creating ethical cultures in their respective environments, as opposed just to check who has submitted and who has not submitted. But it is a matter that, as the Public Service Commission, we are taking care of through interaction with the ethics officers, but we have scheduled workshops and roundtables in the month of March and April, so that we improve all those where we indicated that there is a drop in national departments because of people who are on suspension and prolonged sick leaves. The involvement in companies, the SMS members know it, that it is criminalized. If you were to be involved in companies, then you go and do business with the state, you will be arrested and you will be subjected to criminal prosecution. I've spoken to most of the recommendations that we make. such as we request the EA to take disciplinary steps against the implicated officials. Overall, we present to you that there is an improvement in the management of conflict of interest. However, this 2% drop is something that we were not happy about, because we are striving towards 100% compliance of accurate disclosures of what is happening in the life of an SMS member. May I thank you very much, Chairperson, honorable members of your committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we are going to allow discussions on these two presentations. But before that, I have observed that Commissioner Nancy Ngwenya has also joined the meeting. Let me officially welcome her to this portfolio committee meeting. I suppose it is also her first meeting with us in the portfolio committee. Welcome, Commissioner Ngwenya. Let me note Honorable Kibi and Honorable Nduli.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Chair, honorable members and colleagues. Chair, I'm not going to open my video because I'm on load shedding on this side. Let me welcome and appreciate the presentation. Thank you so much, it's clear. Honorable Chair, my question will be on service delivery complaints. Service delivery complaints top the chart of at 324 complaints within the financial year. Therefore, what does this denote about the service culture within the public service? And my second one is inconsistencies with consequence management. Consequence management at water and sanitation indicates that sanctions imposed on officials with procurement irregularities ranged from final written warnings, suspensions without salary, and criminal cases opened with the subs, whereas at home affairs, solicitation of bribes from foreign nationals seeking fraudulent identification documents led to dismissal, and criminal cases opened against officials. Why are these inconsistencies happening regarding criminal activities? My next one, Honorable Chair, is on non-disclosure of directorship of companies. 554, which is 6% of SMS members who have interests in companies, did not disclose their companies. How long will the PSC and government be tolerant to this behavior of officials not disclosing their registrable interest when the legislation and regulations dictate against this behavior? And then, Chair, my last one would be potential conflicts of interest. There were SMS members involved in activities that could be construed as posing potential conflicts of interest. In this case, does the PSC alert these members to such eventuality, or they get investigated and surveilled without their knowledge to affirm the PSC's suspicion. Maybe I must also go to the next one on engagement in other remunerative work. When officials are found to be involved in other remunerative work outside the public service, do they get stopped from engaging in such activities up to the time they receive permission to do so, or it becomes a straight misconduct and be subjected to disciplinary procedure? I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Nduli, then Honorable Mglua will follow after Honorable Nduli.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to the meeting. And all protocol is observed. Chair, may I not show my video as well, with your permission, please, Chairperson. But Chair, I would also join my colleague in welcoming the presentation. But I do want to say, the presentation is not accordance with the number of complaints. Now I want to check with the Public Service Commission to say what is a stumbling block to them to wait till we've got such a huge number of complaints. And again, Chairperson, I want to check if there is less cooperation with departments to say what is their turnaround strategy. They can't be playing the departments per se. The departments can't be playing that hide and seek. And really, this is bringing down our public service. It is bringing down. It's as if lapaya isbaya senkohlakalo nje. Whatever you are doing, there is this happening in that department. We'll only see to it when they bring to us. And I'm not happy with the pace of the forms that they mentioned. Well, it's not in their will, but in a way, because they want to work as the Public Service Commission, they should come up with something that is trying to push for such things. To Chairperson, it can be the good news to the portfolio committee if there is no case of any SMS doing business with government. All of a sudden, that is a good news. We do want to see the improvement. That means on that side, there is improvement. Let's hope for the best to other factors as well. In terms of the disclosures, now I want to know, to say what is done with people who do not disclose these assets, be it motors, immovable assets. What is the policy? What does the policy say? Now, how fast are these investigations done to get to the tail end when you will be told that motor is no longer on the road, etc., etc., and yet it's reflecting here. For me, Chair, and the meeting, when we talk of the lifestyle audit, we really mean it. People are living the luxury outside there, and their salaries are not matching the lifestyle that they are living, and yet they are playing this now. How do we strengthen the disciplinary measures here? And for me, if we haven't, we still preaching arresting, and there is no one that has been arrested for doing such crimes within the government, that is still going to continue. And again, the converting the gifts into bribery. What is the outcome? Does Public Service Commission follow this to the end? What is the outcome? Because really, when you say it's a gift to us, go to maybe for us to have to root out these rotten potatoes, we'll need the Public Service Commission nayo iqine ukuthi ayinamazinyo, imele abanamazinyo to say, to follow such things to the end, as I've alluded to earlier on, to see to it that justice is done. Again, Chairperson, involvement in companies, I think Comrade Gibi covered me on this one. But the number is so big. The number is so big. 554 is so big. It's just a banana republic. It's just a banana republic. There is something wrong somewhere here. It's as if the disciplinary measures are not as tight as it should be. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I have now noted Honorable McClure, and after Honorable McClure is Honorable Komani. Honorable Ntuli, I think the CEO of ESCOM would not be happy when you are calling an honorable member a comrade. As you are so critical about that, I don't know.
My sincere apology. My sincere apology.
I know, no, you don't have to. You don't have to apologize for that. We are unapologetic by calling each other comrades, because indeed we are comrades. We were waging a struggle for our own freedom in this country. No apologies about that. Honorable McClure, then Honorable Kumani thereafter.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson, for the opportunity. Chair, I want to raise some issues, and one of particular the whistleblower issue. I think members will agree with me that most of the corruption cases been opened has actually happened through whistleblowers. And rightfully said, listening to the presentation, that whistleblowers does not receive the necessary protection they deserve. We found ourselves in this country whereby most, if not all of them, must fled the country because for the safety of their lives. And on the other hand, nothing or little has been done, by the police in terms of the investigation of this. Now, listening to what the presenter said, I believe there's some hope. But in terms of the urgency of this issue, it has been said that the department is busy with proposals on how to protect whistleblowers. I just want to ask the department, what are the time frames of submitting these proposals so that we can really, come to the party and do what's best for the whistleblowers, and that is to protect them and their lives and their families. Because you also find the situation whereby whistleblowers report some threats on their lives, and that falls onto deaf ears. The second issue of the presentation, quite a number of recommendations. Now, I've read through some of it extensively last night, and it's something that really, worries me was the recommendations to the minister. And if you read between the lines, I can sense a dissatisfaction on the response or action by the ministry, or as far as the recommendations from the department is concerned. So I want to put this, because since 2021 April, this has become law. I want to put this to both the minister, rather the DM and the department. The department side, whether they are satisfied that their recommendations are being acted against. And I would like to pose a question to the ministry to perhaps give us a sample or two on issues that really has been, executed as far as those recommendations is concerned. So yeah, we found ourselves in a challenge whereby, and at the end of the day, the act has been changed. This commission has actually been given more powers. They must also elaborate and tell us as to what extent those powers that belongs to them, are they not allowed in terms of all of this corruption, as Honorable Mtuli also said, going to the police and open a case themselves? Because I remember in the past, they were not allowed to do so. Then doing business with the state, it has been clearly said it's a criminal offense. I would pose the question to the commission to respond. And I know this will be a difficult one in terms of various surnames. Yes, they might, SMSs, they might not get direct involved into businesses. But I think, is there any measure of safeguard, when it comes to the allocations of tenders, where this will fall into family hands? Because at the end of the day, it's just as much as the senior management as well. They can just be involved, withdraw, and would track themselves from that organization. So I think we need to speak to this, and also the role of the ethic committee members. What is their role pertaining to this, I would almost say, bridge between those in positions and also the contracts that has been given. So I think for now that is all from my side. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable McClure. Honorable Komani, it's your turn now.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to colleagues the DPSA and the Commission. And let us welcome Abu Mama Nancy, their first attendance of the committee meeting, and congratulations once more. Chair, you know, one would be sitting here and, you know, you don't know, because in terms of the presentation, it says in terms of the social grant fraud, it is the highest reported matter to the Commission. And when we go to Parliament, Chair, would be given numbers and so forth that are also inclusive of the same perpetrators, which might be misleading to the communities to say government is issuing to so many people so much money, and unfortunately, a bigger chunk of that amount and a bigger chunk of that beneficiaries would be those that are benefiting fraudulently. So one would then ask this question, Chair, in terms of that complaints and being referred to the relevant departments, how consistent or how sure is the Commission that the matters are being treated swiftly? That's one. Number two, whether that monies would be paid back into the state's coffers, and how soon is that? And then, are there any cases? Because I mean, defrauding the system is tantamount to criminal activity. Are there cases opened to that account? So when we speak of the presentation that has got that results and where the department has submitted reports to the Commission, do we speak to such issues, Uguti, given this particularly that impacts so much on the lives of our people, that impacts so much on the service delivery? Does it then get the attention that it needs? So I would just want to know, one of the members said, we don't know whether the PSC doesn't have the teeth to bite. Where then would they be putting their foot down into this matter, Chair? And Chair, and then the department, here, the next one, the department has been holding their breast high with the Batupili principle, ensuring and like highlighting how this is impacting on the lives of the people. But we still have got complaints to the Public Service Commission, where you'd find that grayness, where you find that, so when you get to those those institutions, to the departments, you'd cry yourself. We even are afraid to say we're members of Parliament, the way we see our people being treated there. So there, Chair, what is the department doing? Because previously they came, they showed us so many papers on the wall. It was so impressive. But down there on the ground, there's the attitude that is being posed by our officials at the departments is still shocking. We still find people who are waiting at the departments from 3:30 a.m. only to find that the offices are opened at 8 a.m. Come lunchtime, they close them out. Come 3:30, they shut them out. So what is the department doing to ensure that this is attended? Because where I'm seated, Chair, that is not attended at all. Because we are doing oversight, we can attest to that. I was at Northwest yesterday in Brett. I was at the Home Affairs. It is like shocking. I had to go buy an old woman food because she fell there. She has been there. And for what? For a death certificate. For a death certificate, Chair. So that some of these things are very heart-touching. I don't know. And then the other thing, Chair, is that the PSC has said to us there are 480 officials who have been found guilty of misconduct, Chair. So one would then again ask, yes, these people were found guilty of the misconduct. What were the sanctions? Were the sanctions you know, Chair, would have sanctions written, this would be the first written only. But when you measure in terms of the contact with the people, when we measure the misconduct vis-a-vis the sanction, I'm not sure whether the PSC is satisfied on the verdicts that is being given to the officials who have been found guilty. And Chair, the next one would then speak to the repeat offenders, because one would then still ask, it would speak almost likely to the previous one. What would have been the previous sanction? Because if we say the repeat offender, that means that person should have committed the first offense, and then maybe rehabilitation or something has taken place, and then now this is the repeat offender. And then what are we saying? The sanctions that we are giving to our perpetrators, like the people who committed misconduct, are they really corrective measures, or what is happening so that we kept this thing of people having repeating the same offense, or is it a personality issue? Because there are some where there are personality issues. What is the department then doing in terms of dealing with such? Because we would then always find the repeat offenders. Maybe if it is a personality issue of maybe contravening Batupele or something, that person is like that. And then, or what would then happen? And Chair, it is worrisome, very worrisome, for us to be receiving a presentation that says almost 6% of our SMS did not disclose their directorship to the commission, and some of them are repeat offenders as well. These repeat offenders comes well too many times in our presentations, Chair, and we should take note of that, because we cannot have repeat offenders whilst we say we are correcting, unless if there's a problem either in the department or the oversight of the commission. And hence we ask Wuti, what teeth does the commission have? What is it that needs to be done for them to be assisted? Chair, once more, in terms of the reports that have been submitted to the PSC, okay, fine, that one I spoke to. And then one would then ask Wuti, there are misconducts that constitute or qualifies for criminal cases. Chair, so the reports that have been submitted to the PSC, are there any recommendations of criminal cases being opened? If yes, are those criminal cases being opened? And then what is the status of that? Like if one could then give an example of defrauding the system there by the social department, you'd find that people have accumulated taxpayers' money fraudulently. Then what would then be? Has there been money recovered from such? Oh wow, how is where is the case? Where are we with the case so far? And lastly, Chair, you know, Honorable McGlower spoke at length about this thing, and it should be an issue that we take serious, this issue of the whistleblowers. So would want to know from the department really what is the time frame, because our people are dying, and we are no longer going to get people who are bringing forth the information, because we as government, we as the lawmakers don't seem to be caring about them. Maybe it is because we are also complicit. Because if this thing is, we're taking it very serious, we should take care of them. So what is the department, because it says that they are in engagement of finalizing, what is the time frame? And what, can that be brought to the committee so that maybe we can as well see as a committee, as part of the lawmakers. Chairperson, I'm very emotional because of those things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we get responses now to questions raised?
Honorable Chair, I'll respond to a few questions. just to allow Mr. Malatsi to catch his breath after presenting those two reports, I'll take a few questions, and Mr. Malatsi will then just respond to the more technical explanations or questions that require technical explanation. Firstly, Honorable Chair, I do think that if the draft PSC bill has finally gone through all the stages and has finally been enacted, it will address many of the concerns raised by the honourable members, specifically with regards to service delivery complaints that were mentioned, other complaints. There were questions or concerns raised about social grants, etc. The reality, Chair, as you know, is at the moment in its if one interprets the Constitution and the Public Service Commission Act in its current form, the Commission does not have a mandate for local government and public entities. But you'll recall that the National Assembly took a decision in 2011 that the mandate of the Commission should be expanded to also include local government and public entities. And I can just indicate to you, Chair, that the Commission has gone through all the stages now. The Cabinet memo has been finalized. The draft bill has been sent to the Secretariat of Cabinet with the request that that process be fast-tracked. And I know that your committee, Honourable Chair, is waiting for the draft bill so that we can effect what this committee wants, but also what the Commission wants. So now the reality, Chair, is when we receive service delivery complaints, especially complaints relating to SASSA or complaints, local government complaints, seeing that we don't have a mandate. And let's just take local government complaints as an example. These complaints are referred to the relevant MEC for COCTA, the MEC responsible for local government in the province, with the request that those complaints be sent to municipalities for investigation and report back to the Public Service Commission via the office of the relevant MEC. So that is how it is currently working. That process we have seen is a very tedious, a very long process, and we sometimes struggle to get feedback on implementation, on investigations conducted by municipalities, local government in general. So we are of the firm view that once the bill process has been finalized, that the issues around service delivery complaints and investigations on social grants, etc., will be addressed. As you know, at the moment, we do not have a mandate for local government and public entities. On the inconsistency regarding consequence management, the members are absolutely correct. We have also seen inconsistency in various departments, but our hands are tied, and I think some of the department's hands are tied because, as you know, when a disciplinary process unfolds, you appoint a presiding officer, you appoint a presenter or prosecutor, and the sanction, Honourable Chair, is determined by the relevant presiding officer. And the relevant presiding officer considers the evidence, mitigating circumstances, aggravating circumstances, etc. And that is the main reason why we see inconsistency in consequence management, where some get final written warnings, other employees are dismissed, etc. But what we have also seen, and this is also where Honourable Kumani's question is relevant, is we have found that with regards to financial misconduct, you always, the tendency in the public service at the moment is that your middle level public servants and your lower level public servants are disciplined, and many of them are dismissed. But the challenge that we still see and the concern that we have expressed as the Public Service Commission is that although senior management service level members get disciplined, and you will find cases where some of them are dismissed, it is unfortunately not happening on a regular basis, and to the extent that we would like to see that happening. Surely a decision for wrong things to be done was taken at a higher level, but you always, when we get the report on financial misconduct, you will always see your middle management or your lower level employees being disciplined. Then on, let me just go check some of the questions here. Indeed, Honorable Ntuli, we are also concerned about not all assets being disclosed. And immediately after this is picked up, remember, we have a process to verify the information that is submitted. E-Natus, we have access to E-Natus, is where your car registrations are reflected, and also your deeds register. So the Commission can immediately pick up when assets are not disclosed. These assets are identified, and a letter or report is written to the relevant executive authority, the Minister or the MEC, and it is expected of these EAs to act. In fact, the regulations, the public service regulations, are clear with regards to the role of an EA. It says that an executive authority shall within 30 days after such referral report to the Commission by stating whether any steps were taken, and if steps were taken, giving a description of those steps or providing reasons if no steps were taken. So it is an obligation for executive authorities to take action and to report to the Commission on what they have done. The Commission then reports to this committee, this portfolio committee, on the information that we've received. On whistleblowers, Honorable Maglua and Honorable Komane, indeed a serious concern that has been expressed by the Public Service Commission on numerous occasions. In fact, as recently as last month, the specialist team, the Integrity and Anti-Corruption Specialist team of the Commission, took a resolution based on research that we've conducted that we should develop a research paper on also incentivizing whistleblowing. And this is based on experiences that we have seen in other countries. So the office immediately started with its process of developing this research paper, and they then contacted the Department of Justice, and we were informed that that Minister Lamola, under the auspices of the Anti-Corruption Task Team, has also started with a process of not only strengthening the protection of whistleblowers, but also looking at incentives for whistleblowing. So not only has the Public Service Commission identified this challenge, and we are we are in the process of developing something that will eventually go to all the national and provincial departments. But it appears that the Department of Justice is also in a process of developing some incentives and also measures to strengthen the protection of whistleblowers. I'm going to stop there, Honourable Chair, and request Mr. Malatsi then just to respond to the other technical issues.
Mr. Malatsi, you can take the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and Commissioner Dr. Boshoff. Honorable Kiwi, on the issue of service delivery complaints, what does it denote? What culture of service do we have? We have in the public service now, there are very committed officials who really want to serve their country. But on the other hand, you will have those whose work ethic is so questionable, such that the example that was given of the closure of office while people are still awaiting outside to be served, who traveled a long way. So those are issues that we, with the professionalization of the public service, we are going to take into account also the ethical conduct of the people that are hired in the public service. They must have a high work ethic. They must seek to serve their country ahead of serving themselves. So it is a very welcome observation. The consequence management, Commissioner has addressed that. The inconsistencies thereof is because of the panels. Once you constitute a panel, you stay outside as the employer, because if you are involved, whatever outcome is going to be reversed by the court, because the panel must be independent. And that chairperson now takes over. And the law says the following are the sanctions that can be meted. It doesn't say when you have done this, then you must be fired. It just says consider the following sanctions as you evaluate based on the evidence. But in our country, there is zero tolerance to fraud and corruption. Zero tolerance means those who commit fraud and corruption must be fired outright, whether it's the first time or the second or what, you just issue that sanction. So thank you very much. I'll move on. The issue of the potential conflict of interest, we draw the attention of the EA so that they take the necessary action. They call the people involved to explain. Are you aware your conduct poses this conflict of interest? What are you intending to do? They will say, I'm going to deregister, or I have deregistered, but the process at the company registration is taking long. Then they will provide proof that I have deregistered from this company. Or I was not aware, I'm still a director, I'm going to attend to it accordingly. Those are I'm basing this on the responses that we receive and the proof that is provided to us. The other remunerative work without approval is a straight disciplinary, it's a straight misconduct case that warrants disciplinary hearing to be taken. There's no two ways about that one. Honorable Nduli, on I'm just checking the question quickly. There is so much complaints being reported. What does it mean? When you have more complaints being reported, to the practitioners who conduct awareness workshops, telling people how to report these complaints when they arise, It's really showing that people are aware of what conduct, wrongful conduct must be reported, where it must be reported, and how it must be reported. Again, in environment where there's more awareness, we see high number of allegations that be substantiated when investigated, meaning, and that's how the good governance can be improved, because when people know, hey, if I'm doing this, 99% is that I'm going to be reported and be taken to task. Once people see action meted to somebody, there's gonna be many other allegations reported, because now they have confidence in the system on dealing with complaints, as compared to environments where there is code of silence. And I'll give here the environment like PRASA and every other parastatals, where we have observed that during that period of stealing, there was no reporting. Nobody was reporting anybody to no one. And we call such environments, the prevailing culture is the one where there is code of silence. People have agreed not to report one another, or they are mindful, if I report, I'm really going to be victimized to the very end. So they rather not report anything. But we will continue with the awareness raising and ethics workshop, and advise people what to report, which suspicion, how to report it. It make it easier for the investigating agencies, when a matter has been reported properly, to follow it to get to the bottom of the problem. Are we happy with the pace of finalizing investigations? Definitely not. It is a very slow pace, and from time to time, we come with mechanism to improve this. Now, for instance, we are urging investigative units, at least within 90 working days, to finalize their investigations. And we are doing the same as the Public Service Commission, that we need all our investigations to be finalized in that period. But there will be that one instance where it is complex, it involves calculations, given the money involved, and so it will need a bit of time for you to, otherwise if you rush it, you are going to miss very salient point that indicates the criminality that has happened and the amount that was stolen. So such cases, we referred them to the Hawks as per that question. Do you open criminal cases? We do open criminal cases, and then the relevant agencies will follow them up. And when we see, because once we investigate, we will be convinced this one has got criminal elements, while it has got internal issues that the department must take care of. The Hawks, the SIU must investigate the following aspects of the criminal leg of it. So that's where we will refer it. And there were cases in the past that came from PSC where people were found guilty and sentenced to 15 years imprisonment. But because we don't normally indicate names and want to brag about it, this case comes from PSC. It is in that way that maybe honorable members would not know which cases. Maybe we will do something like a spreadsheet as we refer them, just to show that these are the findings from our side, but we also recommended criminal activity. I mean, criminal investigations. Commissioner has spoken about corrective actions whenever there is FDF, the financial disclosure framework that we do not receive. The issue of gift as a bribery. This is where the differentiation is blurred. I'm going to give example short what happened in the Department of Home Affairs. Official working at a borderline received a biscuit, just a pack of biscuit, as a thank you from a person who was passing there and helped. Now that was regarded as receiving a bribe. That person was fired, went to labor court, and the labor court upheld it, that when you work in areas like this one, you can receive a gift, because even in that department, the policy is a no gift policy, meaning you shall not receive anything whatsoever as a gift. Anything that you receive is going to get you dismissed. And that's one department, because the type of transgressions that are happening there, most of them are very serious. They put the security of the country at risk. That's why you are going to see in that department, mostly is dismissal, dismissal, dismissal. It is in that light that what they do really expose the security of the country. But in another environment, you are going to find it is different. They give a final written warning for a gift of that nature that is not disclosed. But those are the inconsistencies we must address through policy, where we say in the public service, no one shall receive any gift. We must be as explicit as that when we make policy proposal to our sister department, the DPSA. The issue of whistleblowing has been addressed. In terms of the timeline, we have targeted the first quarter of 2023, 2024, meaning the first quarter of the coming financial year, that we will convene all stakeholders that have raised issues about whistleblowers. They have made proposals. We have made certain proposals. We put those together and refer to the ministry that must amend the legislation. Social grant fraud. SASSA has got a small component of forensic professionals who follow up on the cases that we refer to them. They work with Home Affairs to verify the details of these people who apply, check Home Affairs whether this person has got 8 kids whom they gave birth to. And with subs as well, they will be called to police station, come and depose an affidavit. Most of them will come and say, I'm sorry, these 8 kids are not mine. I'm willing to pay back the money that you have been paying me. So we have action being taken to that extent, but because of the issue of how we provide feedback, it is not so explicit as to show what action has been taken. For instance, the issue of employees receiving their 350 payout, that relief grant, which some employees took an opportunity at. It is a matter where many criminal cases have been opened. They are taken to task to repay the money they've received and be disciplined if they are employees of the state. So just to share at that high level, but honorable members, if they need more detailed information, we are able to call for that information from SASSA and say, honorable members, this is what we were talking about. The repeat offenders, these ones must just be disciplined. There's no other recommendations to make against them. The criminal cases, we do open them. We do send to relevant agencies and say, oversee this matter. It is of a criminal nature. Once we have done so, update us what is it that you have done. I'm going to leave it here. The 480 feedback we have received who were found guilty, maybe that will be the last one. The 180 officials were dismissed. Then the 300 of them, the sanctions differed, ranged from final written warning, suspension without salary as an alternative to dismissal. It is also being given as a way of progressive discipline as provided by the respective resolution governing discipline management in the public service. Honorable Chairperson, thank you very much. Those are the answers to the questions from the esteemed members. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Professor Makanya's hand is up, and Honorable Nduli and Honorable Komani.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I'll be fairly quick on this one. Commissioner Boshoff and Malati has responded to the questions. But to say that it's becoming clear, Honorable Chairperson, that from the questions, that are raised by the honorable members of our committee, we have to give some additional information in terms of our reporting, where there is clarity about how we track these particular cases of a criminal nature that we've actually referred to various agencies that are supposed to be pursuing them, because in any event, we do insist on them reporting, on the outcomes of such criminal investigations and so on, so that as and when then we do the reporting, our reports should at least be as comprehensive as at least taking care of that particular section. But another part, Honorable Chair, that is becoming very clear that it's raising some serious, concerns from the side of our honorable members. It is this area of whistleblowing. And just to assure honorable members that we are pursuing it, with some kind of commitment to ensure that we can at least be guaranteed that we report at the next meeting of the portfolio committee about progress that we shall have made, because our commitment is to ensure that just besides the question of the protection of whistleblowers and the rewards of those who are actually taking active role in reporting, but we also make it part and parcel of the culture that we have in the country, so that even those then that are involved in criminal activity, in whatever manner from the side of the public service, will be aware that I must actually understand that I am going to be reported. So once that culture is in place, our view is that it will then leave us as a society in a better space, because currently we know that whistleblowers are scared for their lives, precisely because of the kind of challenge that they're confronting. One, of isolation in the first instance, but secondly, that one of a lack of security, around them, or from what we've experienced. So honorable members are very clear on the fact that it's an area that requires some serious attention, because once we can get it working, we are going to be having a better way of addressing this whole crisis of corruption, that has bedeviled our country. Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members.
Thank you, Professor Makanya. Honorable Nduli.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, in terms of the question of the number of complaints, I'm very much happy with the awareness, etc. But my concern was as to why. Maybe is there any hindrance that causes for the complaints to pile up before they are dealt with. I even mentioned if there is less cooperation from the departments, to say what is the turnaround strategy of the Public Service Commission in this regard to fast track each case as and when it is submitted. That's where my question was sort of directed, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you so much.
Honorable Komani.
Thank you very much, Chair. Once more, let one acknowledge and appreciate the response by the honorable commissioners. However, Chair, one would then be tempted to ask this question because the Public Service Commission works with all the departments. So in terms of trying to curb this fraud within the system, is it not time, or what is it that is needed for the commission maybe to recommend, or what is it that should be done to have a system that would communicate amongst all the departments? Maybe this is Rosina Komani. She's working from the public, from public, from Department of Public Enterprise, and then she now wants to apply for the social relief grant and so on and so forth. What is it that is needed, or why are we not having a system that would intercommunicate within the departments, where such when such application is being made, it would there and then be rejected by the system, rather than wait, because at some point you find that a person has defrauded the system for more than a year, and would say maybe this person would go to the police station to make an affidavit or this and that. Those things are not assisting us, because the same people, when they go to do the application, the application requires them to do the same affidavits. And Chair, where we are seated, bleeding as we are, we have got so many, offense for that matter. People who children who does not even have who to assist, who qualifies for the relief grant, they are rejected by the system, by virtue of the system saying those people are getting monies from somewhere. Why is the system not assisting us to get rid of this defraudsters, rather than it giving us false information? People who are deserving are being deprived, but those that are not deserving are being given opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Komani. Now we are going to get the comprehensive report on the implementation of lifestyle audits by government department and challenges encountered by the Department of Public Service and Administration. Can the Honorable Deputy Minister give her opening remarks before the presentation? Is the Deputy Minister on the platform?
Yes, Chairperson, I am on the platform.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. You can make your opening remarks.
Open the speech or this. Good morning to the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, to members of the Portfolio Committee, and let me also say good morning to the public in general. Chairperson, we are today, as the Department of Public Service and Administration, going to be giving a briefing to the Portfolio Committee on comprehensive monitoring report on the implementation of the lifestyle audits by government departments and challenges encountered as a result of guidelines published by the Department of Public Service and Administration. Chairperson, this is the second year that the departments are implementing the guide to implement lifestyle audits in public service. As was done the previous year, the Public Administration Ethics, Integrity and Disciplinary Technical Assistance Unit, called TAU, provided technical assistance to departments to implement the guide by providing general awareness, but also a specialist training to national and provincial government departments. The implementation rate for 2022-23 financial year improved dramatically for provincial departments, where, Chairperson, there were only 47 provincial departments that performed lifestyle audits in the previous year. This number has increased to 71 provincial government departments, a good progress indeed. The number of national departments conducting lifestyle audits, however, decreased slightly, as only 24 departments reported that they conducted lifestyle audits for the 2022-23 financial year as compared to the 27 for the previous financial year. The departments that did not complete lifestyle audits will continue to be given assistance or to be capacitated in order for them to be in the position to manage to roll out these lifestyle audits that are very important and useful in our fight against corruption in and across government. I thank you, Chairperson. Let me request the DG of the Department of Public Service and Administration to give the presentation.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. DG, can you take the floor now?
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to Deputy Minister, Chairperson, and all the honorable members, commissioners, and colleagues from DPSA and PSC. Chairperson, I'm going to request to hand over to the Chief Director responsible for the Technical Advisory Unit, who will take us through the report. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Deputy Minister. Good morning, DG, colleagues from the PSC and from the PSA, but also the commissioners, and especially the chair. I was requested to report on the implementation of the lifestyle audits in the public service. So if I can go to the presentation, the first part is, let me first assess if everyone can see my presentation, Chair. Can I get confirmation that everyone
Yes, we can see it. Yes, we can see it.
And also hear me. Thank you. Thank you so much. So the presentation, this is just a brief outline of the presentation, that there will be a background introduction, the implementation support rendered, but also the feedback on the last financial year, the last year lifestyle audits, also the findings, and then the challenges and the way forward, and to conclude. So, Chair, let me just, as part of the background, remind everyone that on the 1st of April 2021, lifestyle audits became compulsory for all government departments in the public service, as the Deputy Minister indicated. The DPSA drafted a guide to implement lifestyle audits, and in that guide, we outlined the process to implement the lifestyle audits, and that was adopted and shared with the departments in 2021. Now, the guide was developed after extensive consultation with the departments, and it was also developed in such a way that it's more implementable in the departments by breaking it into 3 different processes, which I will just briefly touch on in the next slide. Now, when we did launch the issue of lifestyle audits, the policy around that, there were extensive awareness that we raised, including the hosting of a lifestyle audit in Durban in 2021, and also having various different types of training interventions that were performed by the TAO unit. Now, in order for the unit to monitor whether the departments are implementing lifestyle audits, every year around November, we issue a circular where we request the departments then to report to us on what they have done and the progress in terms of investigations, also in terms of general lifestyle audits that's been conducted. And then the time frame for them is by January 2023, and the previous time was 2022, to provide us with that information, because by then they would have been already finalized the financial disclosure process, and also the lifestyle audit process, which is linked to the financial disclosure process. Now, just as background, lifestyle audits are a decentralized process. So this means that the departments are responsible to conduct lifestyle audits. It's a departmental responsibility, and it's based on the risks that they identify, and it's mandated in terms of Regulation 22 of the Public Service Regulations. The role of the DPSA of TAO is to provide technical assistance and to play an oversight role to see whether there is compliance with the implementation, and also where there is weaknesses identified to intervene and assist. Now, just very briefly, the lifestyle audit process, as I've indicated, is threefold. The first step is the lifestyle review, then it's lifestyle investigations, and then it's lifestyle audits. Now, the review process is the most important process, and this is where it's very neatly linked with the e-disclosure system. The e-disclosure system is an electronic system where people depose then their financial interests onto the system during timeframes that is set by the regulation. Senior management in April, and the other designated categories June and July. So when this information is reposited on the system, the first task is for the ethics officer to conduct a lifestyle review, meaning that is where the ethics officer will verify the information against the deeds office to assess for properties, the INATA system to assess for vehicles, and then the CIPC system where they assess for business interests. Now, this information is integrated into the e-disclosure system where the DPSA buys the data, and then that is then freely accessible for the different departments, the ethics officers who has then access and who has permission to be on the system to have direct access to that and to do the verifications. And now the ethics officers also, besides that, they also consult internal records such as gift registers, central supply database, and other information around conducting business with the state or other remunerative work, and that they also take into consideration when doing the lifestyle reviews. And based on all these databases that they access, then they have a picture to see whether a person has unexplained wealth or conflicts of interest. And then if that is detected, it's then only that it's forwarded to an investigator to perform an investigation. And if nothing is found, it means that the lifestyle process is finalized and it stops there. Now, lifestyle investigations is where it is then handed to the departmental investigator, and they then investigate the cases that's referred by the ethics office. The moment that they detect criminality, a criminal case is opened, and then in terms of the guide, the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations is also notified. The last step is the lifestyle audit step, and that is where a case is extremely complex, and the investigator that's investigating the case cannot perform the investigation properly. And that is where the services of an auditor is then obtained to perform an audit. And this, according to the guides, must also be taken into consideration, the cost effectiveness, and before a lifestyle audit then is conducted. Now, in terms of the work that the TAO unit and DPSA is performing, I've indicated that although the departments are responsible to perform lifestyle audits, the TAO unit is instrumental in supporting the departments through technical assistance, so that they can assist with, so that they can honor the policy on lifestyle audits. Now, when we started with the implementation, as I've indicated, we gave the departments until the end of January, because in April, SMS members are to disclose their financial interests, and June, July, the other categories. So even our training is more or less aligned to this, so that the departments can be assessed when the information is only captured on the systems. Now, you will find that on the slide, I only indicated from August, but in May, we performed training and awareness sessions at the Eastern Cape Provincial Government, the Northern Cape Provincial Government. In August, we looked at the Western Cape Provincial Government, the Limpopo Office of the Premier, the Gauteng Provincial Government, the Eastern Cape Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, and also the Western Cape Department of the Premier that invited us to assist with awareness sessions around lifestyle audits to various provincial departments in the Western Cape, and then also in August, the Mpumalanga Provincial Government. Now in September, we then performed awareness sessions and training sessions with the Western Cape Province, and also during Public Service Month, we conducted sessions with the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster. In October, we did interventions in Limpopo Department, Transport and Community Safety, Gauteng Provincial Government, and also KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Government. In November, we did interventions at the National Government Communication Information System, and also the Department of Employment and Labour, and the Free State Provincial Government. In January, we intervened in the Mpumalanga Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, and in February, we were at the Limpopo Provincial Government. Now, apart from the general training around the guide and giving assistance with how to do the lifestyle reviews, the process, how it's linked to the e-disclosure system and how this data need to be sourced, we also developed in 2021 risk-based verification training with the assistance of the World Bank and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, where we specifically focus on ethics officers and train them on how to do proper lifestyle reviews, so that we can identify unexplained wealth and that we can identify conflicts of interest, so that that can be then referred for investigations. Now, in June, the 8th and 9th, we trained primarily the security cluster departments on this risk-based verification, where we did the police, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, the Civilian Secretariat of Police, Correctional Service, Home Affairs, Military Veterans, South African National Defence Force, National Prosecuting Authority, Justice and Constitutional Development, Office of the Chief Justice, and then also the Office of the Public Service Commission, Government Printing Works, Government Pensions Administration Agency. Now, on the 22nd and the 23rd of June, we performed this training at predominantly social cluster departments, digital communications, government communication information system, public enterprises, social development, water and sanitation, statistics South Africa, transport, National School of Government, basic education, higher education, science and innovation, tourism, small business development. and the 27th and the 28th of June, predominantly the governance cluster departments, amongst others, the Public Service and Administration Department, Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Cooperative Governance, Traditional Affairs, Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, Human Settlements, Public Works, National Treasury, Government Technical Advisory, and then Sports, Arts and Culture, Trade, Industry and Competition, and Health. Now, at the end of January, the end of January 2023, as I've indicated, we requested the departments to provide us with feedback reports on the implementation of the lifestyle audits in the different departments. Now, as the Deputy Minister indicated, a total number of 24 national departments, which is less than the 27 the previous period, indicated to us that they commenced and finalized their lifestyle audits. And this is 55%, more or less, of the 44 national departments that we have on the list. And that is a drop from 62% last year. And then if we look at the provincial departments, the previous year, not all the provinces started with lifestyle audits. This year, all 9 provinces started. 71 departments indicated that they commenced and finalized their lifestyle audits. And that means 62% of the provincial departments are in compliance. That is 71 of the 114 provincial departments. That was up from 47 last year, which were then 41% of the provincial departments. Now, this slide just indicates the departments who the national departments who did provide feedback: basic education, communications and digital technologies, cooperative governance, employment and labor, government communication and information systems, government relations, pensions administration agency, human settlements, international relations and cooperation, mineral resources and energy, municipal infrastructure agency, National School of Government, Office of the Public Service Commission, planning, monitoring and evaluation, public enterprises, public service and administration, science and innovation, small business development, SAPS, sports, arts and culture, statistics, South Africa, tourism, trade, industry and competition, traditional affairs, and water and sanitation. The national departments that did not comply as at the end of January 2023 is Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, Civilian Secretariat for Police, Correctional Services, Defence, Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, Health, Higher Education and Training, Home Affairs, Independent Police Investigative Directorate, Justice and Constitutional Development, Military Veterans, National Treasury, Presidency, Work, Public Works and Infrastructure, Social Development, Transport, and Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Now, the provincial departments that did not comply as at the end of January 2023 is the Eastern Cape, where the departments indicated to the right of that. And then the Free State, you will also see the departments listed, and then Gauteng. And the interesting thing that we noticed with the feedback is that the Department of Social Development indicated that they requested the services of the Special Investigative Unit to conduct their lifestyle audits, and that they will provide the DPSA with quarterly progress reports so that we can be kept abreast of the investigation. If we then move to the other provincial departments, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and then also Northwest. With the last slide, that of the Northern Cape, where the Director General of the Northern Cape Provincial Government also informed the DPSA at the end of January that they've outsourced the services to the law enforcement agencies to conduct lifestyle audits in the provincial government. And they are currently drafting legal arrangements, and they will provide quarterly reports to the DPSA. One department, provincial department in the National Cape, Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, already conducted lifestyle audits. So in total, the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government and the Western Cape provincial government had a 100% compliance rate where they conducted lifestyle audits in total. Now, the findings of the submitted reports that we received in January is that, as has been indicated, that the provincial departments now have started to embrace lifestyle audits, and that there's a huge improvement in the implementation of lifestyle audits, where we now have all 9 provinces conducting lifestyle audits. The other finding also was last year we only received feedback from the Western Cape Health Department to say that they are busy with investigations and that they actually finalized the lifestyle audit review or the lifestyle review process, and that the lifestyle reviews were, some of them yielded investigations, and they reported on the investigations that they have started. This year, more departments indicated that they referred investigations. I think it's 9 in total. So the departments who referred investigations were the Western Cape Agriculture Department, also Gauteng Transport and Logistics, Northwest Health, Statistics South Africa, the Government Pension Administration Agency, KwaZulu-Natal Health, Free State Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Gauteng Office of the Premier, Western Cape Health again, and Wellness, and they have reported that they're busy with the investigations on some of the officials. And this is actually promising, because last year we only had the 1, and now it shows that there's an indication that the lifestyle review process is normalizing, and it's actually done effectively where it is done. Now, the possible findings that they've alluded to in the report that I've submitted with this is mostly around possible employees conducting business with the state, possibility of conflicts of interest, then also the issue of gifts that is not disclosed, that not all the properties and assets were disclosed, or that the value of the properties and interests were not disclosed, and in some cases where information were incomplete. Now, moving towards the end of the presentation, Chair, the challenges that we have identified differs totally from the first year. The first year, there was a bit of reluctance to start with lifestyle audits. There were a lot of questions around the legality of the process, and also a lot of insecurities and fears on the side of ethics officers on what they should address and how they should approach lifestyle reviews and the transfers. This year, we found that those initial fears has been addressed mainly through the awareness sessions that we engaged on, where ethics officers are clearer on the process and the work that they need to do. We don't experience pushback in terms of implementing lifestyle audits that outright. But the challenges that we currently still sit with is the fact that the ethics officers, who are the key players for lifestyle audits, are designated and not appointed, meaning that they are appointed as HR officials mostly, and then besides the work that they have as HR officials, they need to perform the ethics officer work, which is prescribed in terms of public service regulations. And that is mostly around financial disclosures, the e-disclosure systems, and providing advocacy and awareness work, and also to be involved in lifestyle audits. So what we find then is that they really feel this is an over and above function, and that they cannot manage all the tasks. And then the other issue is that some departments rotate the ethics officers yearly, and that disrupts the training cycle, because once you've trained the person for starting with a lifestyle audit process, the person is there no longer the next year there to do the lifestyle audits, and then one has to retrain those who are then left to do the work. And then most of those departments then are late. And then we find that by March, June, most of those departments then submit to the DPSA the statistics and that they're busy with lifestyle audits. The other issue that we also identified is still where there's unsurety, no longer as much expressed as the previous time, but that there's still some level of unsurety of how to determine whether employees living beyond these means. And those issues the two challenges I'm going to address in the next slide in terms of the way forward. The one, especially around the issue of the ethics officers being designated and not appointed, having over and above functions and so forth, and also being rotated yearly. We are in the next financial year already, as one of our APPs, we adopted that we will assist with the professionalization of the ethics officers, and therefore adopt a directive on the functions of the ethics officer, where we will also curb the period that an ethics officer must serve. But then also, in terms of assisting with the workload of the ethics officers, we are looking at training especially the investigators on lifestyle investigations, so that ethics officers, and that should not happen, but in some instances we found that ethics officers still thought that they must do lifestyle investigations, which is not the case. So we're strengthening the training material for investigators on lifestyle investigations, being assisted by the Strengthening Ethics and Integrity Project, a project between the South African government and the Canadian government. And then also we adopted an electronic platform, Moodle, that will go live from the 1st of April, the new financial year for government, which we procured to assist the role players and to upload training material, but also to assist where we find that there's general questions, so that we can tailor-make interventions around that and go to the departments. Then the last issue, to also assist with the workload of the ethics officers, and especially their question around not being always able to assess if there is unexplained wealth. We received funding in this new financial year via the National Treasury to improve the e-disclosure system, this electronic system, where we will now have automatic red flags added to the system, so that the system can determine whether there is a person living beyond his means by working out the categories of the salaries and the amount of assets that can be linked to that, which will be then a red flag. And then those ones will be flagged, and that will assist the ethics officers so that they can be aware of challenging situations. But it will also assist the TAL unit, where then for the first time we will know where are the critical areas where people have, for example, red flags, but the departments are not doing any investigations, because currently we rely on the departments to tell us and give us the information, but if they do not do so, we will not know. So the way forward also, apart from what I've addressed in the challenges slide, we also had engagements with the SIU to request that those departments who do not perform lifestyle audits, if we can forward it to them for investigations. We were advised that if there is a systemic weakness, meaning that it's now repetitive, where departments do not perform their own lifestyle audits and lifestyle reviews and investigations, it would then be proper to refer those names to the SIU to engage those departments to see if they will be able to assist with lifestyle audits. We also had engagements with the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, who is now contemplating to include the conducting of lifestyle audits in the performance agreements of accounting officers. And then the TAU unit, of course, being responsible not only for public service, but in terms of mandate, also for the public administration. We started to support the local sphere of government with looking at ways of how to implement lifestyle audits, especially when the regulations around lifestyle audits will get adopted and will be then applicable to all three spheres of government. And here we're concentrating on looking at legislation and also the issue of whistleblowing, as has been mentioned this morning numerous times, in terms of legislation, that if a person blows the whistle on other people's lifestyles, that they be protected. And then also in terms of the structures that needs to be in place if one wants to have a successful system of lifestyle audits. And here we are thinking of the issue of having ethics officers and ethics committees who can drive that process, and also to be oversight in terms of good governance in the municipal sphere. Chair, to conclude, the task of the unit is to provide technical assistance, and that we will continue to do to national and provincial departments, and in order to improve the skills of the ethics officers and to ensure that the process becomes institutionalized. Being this only the second year, it is really commendable that departments came to the party and started to do the lifestyle audits. I by no means say that it's a roaring success, but there is slowly but surely improvement in terms of from where we came last year. And I really hope that this will continue with the support of the unit and also the support of the national and provincial departments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. Now the presentation is open for discussion. I see Honorable Kibi, Honorable Mutsipe, Honorable McClure.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thanks, Chair. Let me also welcome this presentation by the PSA. Honorable Chair, mine would be, could the designated ethics officers be able to report possible conflict of interest of his or her senior management in their respective departments? And would ethics officers not be treated like whistleblowers in terms of victimization, Honorable Chair? And my next one is, did the department, together with its entities and Public Service Commission, conducted lifestyle audits? If yes, how far is the process and what are the outcomes? And the last one is, as mentioned in the presentation, that ethics officers identified a lack of knowledge to determine when an employee is living beyond his or her means. Therefore, is this not a sign that decentralization of the lifestyle audits was not an ideal solution? Is technical assistance unit not well capacitated to take the role of analyzing all the forms at the on the centralized office, including possibilities of outsourcing certain function where there is possibility of conflict of interest? Those are my questions, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kibi. Honorable Mutsipe.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. And I would like to greet DM, the Public Service Commission presentation, and also my honorable colleagues. I'm very much concerned, Honorable Chairperson, about the lifestyle audit was declared compulsory for every employee in all three spheres of government now. Why are the department not complying to keep them accountable as the department, because departments have been given mandate and the powers to do so? or maybe departments are also part of the misconduct in either way. Departments are afraid to be implicated too. Where is the department canine teeth, or don't have teeth at all? Department is still 1 month baby. We are tired of hearing department still negotiating. Time of negotiations is overdue. Do what you are being paid for to do. No consequence management is applied. Time for theory has passed, Honorable Chairperson. Only practical is what the committee want to see practicing on the Public Service Commission. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable McGlower.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. I don't know where to start. And I must say that I am absolutely disappointed in this presentation. I'm actually upset. And I'm actually so glad I drank my high blood tablets early this morning. You know, you have Coca-Cola company. It delivers in every corner of this South Africa, in villages. They deliver to all the spaza shops Coke for our people. You have Blue Ribbon, every corner in this country and village, they're delivering bread. Here we sit with a department that cannot even do what they are supposed to do. We have SARS, they're auditing millions and millions of people. We're sitting with a department giving such a report in front of us. And what is the rationale? What is the idea of having all of these audits? We want to see whether people live above their means. I'm coming from the Northwest province. I've been in the Northwest legislature. And if you go out on oversight, then you find that a simple PA to a mayor is owning a triple story, a double story, a open coupe and all of these things. And here we have a department come to tell us, listen, this is the departments that could not comply. It is only 2 provinces. It's actually a disgrace. It's actually a complete ignorance to what we want to do, because at the end of the day, through all of this, we can assess or detect possible corruption. So, I don't know. I'm so angry. SARS, what is the role when these audits have been done? What is the role of SARS? Because SARS also, when they suspect there's a taxpayer is not declaring everything, they go into it. So I think there must be some sort of commonality or some sort of relationship, working relationship from this department together with SARS to see through that we get rid of all of the individuals within the system who are stealing from us. I think we to also help and to ensure the lifestyle of government employees, it must be in line with SARS. It must be in line with their salaries and all of that. Now here comes the thing that makes me so jittery, Chairperson. Last week, it was reported that November 2021, all the provincial premier departments has been given training on lifestyle audits. And I've said it last week. For the year 21-22, we are facing a year 22-23 that nothing has been done, and we are going into the year 2023-2024. Now, there was a budget being made available where this training were given to all of these individuals. And what is happening, Chairperson? Here comes a province, Northern Cape, telling us they outsource their lifestyle audits. I think to the police that it has been said. How on earth can the Premier office saying we are outsourcing lifestyle audits to other departments? Where is the appetite of this organization or politicians or provincial premiers officers to say, let's take ownership of this and let us get this country in order? Furthermore, we find there's another department who comes to us and say, no, we want the SIU to conduct lifestyle audits onto us. while there are already stuff in place to do this? Where is the legality of all of this? What happened to the money that we have made available to have these lifestyle audits done up until to date? So I don't know, Chair, what is in front of us with the departments that has done nothing for 1 year, that has been trained. I really don't know whether they want to get to shelve these things underneath whatever and start new where there's no evidence, whatever the case may be. But the trend that we are proceeding and going on, it is completely unacceptable. And there's no excuse for that. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Muklua. Honorable North Naga.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm sorry, I'm just load shedding and I'm scared my battery is not going to last. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, Honorable Member.
Okay, thank you very much. I would just like to know, won't it be better for the government to appoint the ESIC officers more on a permanent basis? And, you know, that could be assisting the departments more if the ESIC officers are, you know, permanently employed in the different departments. Thank you.
Honorable Komani.
Yeah, Chair. Thank you very much. I wouldn't acknowledge the presentation, by the way, Chair, because it's a very serious dismay that we can be seated here. But Chair, one must raise this point. I think we need to raise it, and we need to raise it here. That is the consequences of a department that does not have a minister. Maybe there is no accounting officer in this department. That is why we are not seeing anything that is happening in this department, despite the outcry from the, you know, we can have best commissioners. We are recruiting commissioners, and for heaven's sake, they are trying their utmost best. But if they does not have a department that is going to give them support, then all is lost. We're not doing anything. We're just pouring water into a leaking bucket. We're not going to get any results. I mean, these departments, Chair, I don't know whether the DM here knows what is at stake in this department. I don't know whether this department knows what gravity does it have in the whole country. These are departments that hold so much, but so little is being brought by this department. I don't know, Chair. Maybe we should take stock of this department because it is neither performing, not even giving us any anyway. How could one accept them to perform to report if they cannot perform? Chair, you know the Public Service Commissioner earlier reported that they've said they have now conscientized the departments because some senior managers were skeptical. That is what the report, today's report, were skeptical of their lives being audited due to the legality and so on and so forth. Chair, I wanted this moment because this department has allocated budget for the training of such, for information to the people who needs to undergo the same audit. Now, Chairperson, you know, when people are looking at us here, coming from Northwest, Chairperson, Northwest, and having all these things that is happening in the Northwest, and with the department, and with the Northwest that is not even submitting in time, Chair, and we are sitting in this committee. Chair, it is really unacceptable. Chair, we've got officials who are living even more than the president's life. I'm speaking in terms of what they are being paid. And it is normal. one would be tempted to ask, is this department afraid to audit their lifestyle because they are cadres? Hence, there's no problem to be called in this committee, comrades. It can't be correct, Chair. And we must not shy away from this fact that this department is not doing anything. This department is not assisting us in anything. And there is where every rot is happening. Chair, we are seated here. We've got public servants who are claiming not to be paid. And yes, it's true. They're underpaid. They are underpaid. Chair, but their chair, what then informs their lifestyles? We will not know that until we have audited their lifestyles. And Chair, I want to echo the same sentiment with Honorable McGlow. Chair, we cannot have departments that want to outsource the services to the other departments. The SIU has got its own mandate. Issues should be referred to them based on the evidence or the information received. Unless if the senior managers are afraid, or the department is afraid to take stock of their own people, unless if they are afraid to take their people to task because of cadre deployment. Chair, I mean, in closure, Chair, I mean, can this department tell us why do we have this department? Because they are failing in their duties. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pity that this department up to now, it doesn't have a permanent minister. Be that as it may, I think the DM has taken note of what honorable members are raising. Please, honorable DM and whoever you are working with, can you address the concerns that the honorable members are raising? Maybe in the next meeting, we must get a better report. We can't, I agree with you, honorable members, we can't invite police to conduct lifestyle audit when we have skills within the department that can do that. The police must be invited when something has been uncovered, act of criminality that has been uncovered, then you refer to SIU. You can't refer even the conduct of a lifestyle audit to police. That's wrong. I agree with honorable members on that one. Can we get a better report next time?
Thank you, Chairperson. Should I continue, Chairperson?
Yes, because what has been presented now has angered honorable members here. You can respond.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think the comments have been noted. What we will do is to actually hand over the whole process back to the DG for the DG to look into the issue of lifestyle audits in order for them to make whatever necessary improvements needs to be made. Though on the one hand, we should also take into consideration that the process is not even a year old yet. It's a new process that is being implemented. What has been good are the comments that have actually been put forward in terms of some of the measures that have been put in place so that they can be reviewed. For example, the issue of involvement of police, which is actually being put on the table to question as to whether this is viable. It means when the review of the process is actually done, it will then take into consideration concerns of such nature. But I want to give DG the opportunity to actually just a little comment on the matter in order for the committee to be reassured that we take this business serious. Thank you. Over to you, DG.
Thank
Will
you.
it help us, DM? Will it
Yes,
help anything? Will it help anything for the DG to respond now? Because
And
the
she's
work
not-
that was supposed to be done by the department was not done by the department. And the committee says this department must do its work. It must not offload its responsibilities to the police. I don't think I need the response from the DG. All we need now is to address the concerns that the committee members are addressing and raising. And in the next meeting, we must get a better report. That's how I deal with it, honorable members. I think you will support what I'm saying. I don't want to get any response from the DG now. Address concerns that the honorable members are addressing, raise, and in the next meeting we must get a better report than this one.
The point is noted,
supported, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. I want now, Mascole, can you remind the subcommittee about the subcommittee on recruitment and interviews about the forthcoming meetings next week? Can you do that quickly so that all of us, fortunately we are all in this meeting, we will take note of that. Mascole, can you do that?
Okay, Chair. Good morning, honorable members, Deputy Minister, and colleagues. Yes, Chair, just to quickly respond to you, Chair, in terms of updating the members of the subcommittee that yes, we have interviews on the 8th, Chairperson, which is next week, Wednesday. The interviews of the Public Service Commissioner. So members that are in that subcommittee must prepare to come down to Cape Town, as the interviews will be in the Parliament Present. I just thought I should alert members of the subcommittee to be aware of that, as the process in terms of processing that vacancy is taking place. I don't know, Chair, if I may also send another notice. I mean, not an announcement, Chair. Can I send another one?
I think you must do that because maybe others can say we did not hear anything. You send it, but I wanted them to hear it here now, but okay, you can resend a reminder.
Yes, that was the first announcement, Chairperson. The second one, Chairperson, is the one I think members were sent a WhatsApp in the WhatsApp group by Ms. Dia Ndombi, where she requested members to raise their hand, particularly for the oversight visit of the committee, which is intended to take place for 2 days in Kimberley, which is Northern Cape, and also for 2 days in Bloemfontein in Free State, from the 28th of this month to the 31st of this month, Chair. So members, can they please alert Ms. Dia of their availability, as we are actually in the process of requesting from the House Chair to be allowed for the committee to go to the oversight, Chairperson. So those are just two announcements, Chairperson. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mascole. Yes, we did receive this, but it is always good that we get a reminder. Honorable members, we have now come to the end of the meeting. Thank you for making yourselves available for this meeting. Thank you also for making sure that when there is deviation from what should be happening, you are raising your voice against that deviation. Thank you very much. The meeting is now adjourned.